Want to sew something new, but patterns seem so dear, and you're on a fabric ban? Never fear, I have a plan. It's time to sew frugal with Sam and Ruan. Welcome to the Sew Frugal 2022 edition of Friday Sews. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name's Laura and I'm the Carpe Diem Stitcher. And in terms of welcoming everyone back, I just wanted to say before I start with talking about my plans for Sew Frugal 2022, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's viewed, liked, subscribed and commented on my previous videos. It's early days for my channel. I've only had 3 videos out, but I've been really overwhelmed by the positive comments and responses that I've had. So a massive thank you, and let's get into the video. So I thought I'd start by talking very quickly about the challenge and what it is, in case you've not heard of it before, although you will be seeing lots and lots of videos with the hashtag SewFrugal22 over YouTube in the coming days. So Sew Frugal 2022 is a challenge which is being run in March by Ruan, who is the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and Sam, who is Frugalissima, both on, and they've got those handles both on YouTube and on Instagram, so I'll link them down below. And this came out of the challenge that they ran last year, which was Frugal Frocks. But this year they've extended it, so the overall principles are basically the same, but you can now sew any garment as long as it's for a human. It can be for yourself, it can be for a partner, it can be for a child, but it can't be for a pet. So unfortunately Lovejoy and Lady Jane are going to look out here, and it can't be an accessory, it has to be an actual garment. But as last year, the idea is that you take a pattern that's free to everyone. So broadly speaking, that's going to mean something that you can download from the internet. So one of the changes from Frugal Frocks for the previous year is that last year you could use a pattern if it came free with a magazine, but really because you've paid for the magazine, that's not free. Similarly, if you were gifted a pattern but someone else would have to buy it, then we're asked not to use those patterns. So something that everyone can access for free. And the second rule is to use something from your stash in terms of fabric. So don't go out and buy new fabric, and try and pick something from your existing stash. And then the idea is that everyone will sew up their garment in the month of March and then reveal it on Instagram using the hashtag SewFrugal2022, and also tagging Ruan, the Yorkshire Sew Girl, and Sam, Frugalissima. And then there are prizes. Sam and Ruan have got vlogs out where they're talking more about this. So I won't go into any more detail than that here, except just to mention that Sam and Ruan did a live, I think it was last Friday night, I'll put the link in my description below, where they talked a bit more about the challenge and answered some questions. But in that they did mention that it's fine to put sneaky peeks of what you're doing during March, but please can you, if you do that, use the hashtag SewFrugalWIP, WIP, rather than SewFrugal2022, because it's going to make it much easier for Sam and Ruan to sort through the entries on 31st of March at the end of the challenge if you avoid using the main hashtag for your work in progress. So that's the summary of the challenge. I should also add there's going to be, I think it's 70 vloggers who are talking about the challenge, 2 a day, and they're the, if you like, the official vloggers who are talking about the challenge, and they've done that through arrangements with Sam and Ruan. I'm not doing that. I'm not one of the official vloggers. I hadn't actually set up my channel at the point that Ruan and Sam were reaching out for vloggers to do that. but they've said it's fine for other vloggers to talk about the challenge in their videos. So that's what I'm doing. So just to say, I'm not one of the official ones. But yes, let's get into it. So I thought I'd start by talking quickly about a few free patterns that I've already made. So apologies if I keep looking down. I've got the details and the sizings and everything on my iPad just below where I'm filming, so apologies if you keep seeing me looking down. So let's start with the pattern that I'm wearing. If I stand it, you'll be able to see better. If I go back a bit further. So this is the Mandy Boat Tee, and this is a free pattern from Tessuti Patterns, and you can see it's quite boxy, and it comes just about to my hip, and it's made in a viscose jersey that I got from Black Mountain Fabrics in Abergavenny. So I actually bought it in the shop, which is relatively local to me. But they do have a website, and I'll link that down below. But I don't think you'll necessarily be able to get this fabric because I got it a while ago. I'd not been sewing that long. In fact, I think it was my first ever jersey fabric. This is the Mandy Boat Tee, as I say, from Tessuti. It comes in 4 sizes, and you basically fit your measurements into one of the sizes. But it starts at a 2XS, which is a 32-inch 81cm bust, 27-inch 69cm waist, and a 36-inch 91cm hip. And it goes up to a 3XL, which is a 45-inch 116cm bust, 41-inch 104cm waist, and 45.5-inch 126cm hip. So it's not the most size inclusive pattern in the world. The other thing that I would say is that even though the top itself is quite loose, the sleeves actually, particularly at the top, they're quite snug. They're not uncomfortable because this fabric's so stretchy. But I'm definitely kind of aware that the top's quite kind of free and loose, and then the sleeves are much tighter. So I think if I made it again, I'd probably extend the armhole a bit and just kind of maybe taper that down just to give myself a little bit more room there. It's quite a surprise when it's such a boxy tee. And I think 1 or 2 other people who I've seen reviewing the pattern in the past have made the same comment. So it's not a huge thing, just something to be aware of. And you can do the sleeves in either 3/4 length, or you can do them full length as I've got here. And even the 3XL size you can get out of 1.25 meters of 150cm wide fabric. So it's not massively fabric hungry, but then, as I've said, it's not massively size inclusive on the top end of the range either. And then if we turn to what Olivia is wearing, Olivia is wearing the Monroe sweater, turtleneck sweater, which is also a free pattern from Tessuti. And this comes in 3 sizes. So the bust sizes on this, so the lowest size is exactly the same as for the Mandy Boat Tee. So 2XS 32-inch 81cm bust, 27-inch 69cm waist, and 36-inch 91cm hip. But this pattern only goes up to a 2XL, so it's 111 centimetres, 43.5 inches on the bust, 109 centimetres, 43 inches on the waist, and 121 centimetres, 47.5 inches on the hip. So again, not massively size inclusive, unfortunately. And what I've done with the neck is I folded it over just to make it a bit less high. You can see this is made in a kind of, it's probably the nearest I've got to a Christmas sweater, which is really why I put it on Olivia rather than me, so you didn't think I'd just kind of ended up still partying from December and not actually taking it off yet. But this is just made in a kind of stretchy fabric, stretchy sweater knit from Fabricland in Bristol. So I'll put the link to Fabricland down below. And I think the fabric use is about 1.25 meters. If you make, again, you can do full length sleeves like I have, and if you do 3/4 length sleeves, then obviously you're going to need a little bit less fabric. So that's the other sweater from To Susie Patterns that I've made. What I'll do in the description below, they've got about, I think it's 5 free patterns over in total. They've got a skirt as well and a couple of other bits. So I'll link to the header page for the free patterns, and then you can have a look and see what they have. So I'm going to move Olivia out of the way for a bit and move around so that I can get... I have a feeling, I'm learning already 3 videos in, there are going to be some videos where after you finish filming there's just going to be stuff everywhere. There's going to be fabric and garments and everything all flung all over the place, and I'm going to be tidying, and I think that's going to be one of these videos. So the other 2 freebies that I've made are both from the Stitch Sisters YouTube channel, which I'll link down below, and they've got 2 free skirt patterns, but they're not patterns. You make them by cutting the fabric to size based on your body measurements. So really simple to do, and I did these really early on in my sewing journey. So they're both made out of scuba. So this is the scuba pencil skirt, and it's made in a really heavy scuba, and you'll see it's just got an elastic waistband, which is visible, but you can always cover it over with a sweater, and it's just a straight pencil skirt. It's made in this heavy scuba, and it's got, that's the back. It's got kind of, if I hold that up, hopefully you can see, I think it's really pretty. It's got kind of netting all over it, and I really like the fabric. Unfortunately, it's not the world's most comfortable skirt. It's probably my fault. I think I got my body measurements right, but I think you see the scuba is not hugely stretchy. It's really heavy, and I think probably it was the wrong garment to make with this, which is a real shame. So I can wear it, I can still get in it, but I think probably I'd have to wear it somewhere where I was just going to sit down all night and I wasn't going to move around too much. So I could wear it out to dinner or out for a drink, as long as I wasn't walking about too much. But there's worse things, so that's fine. But I could recommend the pattern. The fabric choice was my fault, obviously. So that's the first scuba skirt that I made, and the second one was a bit more successful, and I do wear this quite a lot when I go into work. So again, this is made out of scuba, and this is the scuba skater's skirt, and again you make this based on your body measurements, and there's really good clear instructions on the Stitch Sisters video. So yes, so that's, and I think I got the fabric for both of these from Minerva. So, but this one you can see is much drapier, much easier to sew with. So yes, so again, and I would happily make that again. I think it's quite a nice pattern. So while we're on the subject of scuba, I wanted to show you, and I'd be really interested to see what you think in the comments below. I could, because it would qualify for the challenge, I could make one of those skirts again, because I've got some more scuba. And this is a Lady McElroy scuba, which I bought from Material Girl Laura, but sadly she's not trading anymore. Although she's still active sewing on Instagram, but she doesn't have her online shop anymore. And I've got just over 2 meters of this, and it's quite a light scuba. So I could make one of those skirts again with that, but I'm really not sure. And when I bought the fabric, I really liked it, and now I'm kind of unsure about it, and I'm probably not being very fair on the fabric because it is quite pretty. But I'd be really interested to hear what you think I should do with it. So even if it's a paid pattern and you want to suggest it, and obviously I couldn't use it for the challenge, but should I make one of the Stitch Sisters skirts with it, or should I look to make a dress with it, or what do you think? Or should I de-stash it? That's the other alternative. So I'd be really interested to hear what you think about that one. So they're the things that I've actually made. And then in terms of things that I have been thinking about making that I could do for the challenge, Let's stick with the Stitch Sisters for now, because the first thing that I have debated about making is the Stitch Sisters DIY Dungas, and I'll put a picture up here. And they've got a blog post on their website, which I'll link to, all about making this pair of dungarees, and you'll see they're quite big and slouchy, a bit like the kind of Waves and Wild Heyday dungarees, similar sort of style. And they've also, since they made wrote the blog post, they've now also put a video up on their YouTube channel, which I'll link to as well. So that's the DIY Dungas, and you might remember from my first video, which I'll link to somewhere, when I talked about my sewing goals, and I said I wanted to make dungarees, and this was one of the possible patterns. So I do have enough fabric in my stash to do this, and it's actually a bedding set that I bought from a charity shop, and so that I don't swamp myself in fabric, I've just pulled out one of the pillowcases to show you. So it's kind of red deep pink and a lighter pink. It's actually probably pinkier than it's shown up in the light on the camera. So I like the fabric, but I think my fear is that if I make myself a set of dungarees in this, I might end up looking like a play school presenter, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that. The other thing that it makes me think of is you might want to look this up on YouTube. I don't know, because I haven't checked if there's any sketches. But those of you who are old enough to remember Hale and Pace, who are a comedy duo, used to do a kind of spoof of play school presenters called something like Billy and Johnny, and they used to have big letters sewn on their chests, and they used to wear dungarees. And I'm just slightly worried that so much of this fabric in dungarees might kind of not really work, and that I might be better looking to make something like a skirt or something. I think it's perfectly wearable, but I just worry about dungarees. So again, let me know what you think. So that's the first possibility. And then sticking with wovens for the moment, one of the other things that I'd wondered about making, and I already own this pattern, as in I've already downloaded it and I've already got it printed it out a while ago, is the Peppermint Magazine wrap top. So this again is for woven, and I'll pop a picture of it up here. And this comes in sizes, so the size, sorry, I'm going to get, the smallest size is it's just got bust and waist measurements on this. It's a bust of 29 inches, 76 centimetres, and a waist of 24 inches, 61 centimetres. And this goes up to a size J, which is a bust of 51 inches, 131 centimetres, and 45 and 5/8, 116 centimetres waist. So yeah, so this is for woven fabrics. And actually, funnily enough, I was reminded that I got this when I saw the new Tilly and the Buttons pearl wrap top come out, which is made in a jersey, and for some reason that kind of doesn't appeal to me. But I was reminded of this wrap top, which I think has got a bit more structure, and that's what made me think that I might have a go at that. So originally I was going to maybe try and do this in a kind of wearable toile, in this kind of, I think it's probably polyester, kind of camouflage, but I don't know if I've got enough of this. I've got 3 pieces which are quite wide but not very long, but it is a fairly cropped top, and I got these as remnants when I first started sewing from a fabric shop local to me. So really, if I had a go at the pattern in this, it would really just be as a wearable toile. But as I say, I don't know if I've got enough of it. So that's maybe one possibility for a fabric. But the other one, which would undoubtedly look nicer, is this, which is a cotton. I think it's probably a poplin, and this came from Trago Mills fabric, because they've got, well, it's not Trago Mills fabric, it's Trago Mills, and they sell some fabric. It sells lots of other things as well. It's got a store in the southwest in Devon, and then it's got another one now in Wales, although I'm not sure if I've seen things in the news suggesting it might be going to close down, but anyway, that's where I got it from. And it's this really nice black cotton fabric with kind of ferns all over it in kind of cream and bronze. So I had got this earmarked for a shirt because you know me and shirts, I really like making them. So I'm still not sure if I want to do the wrap top in this, but it is a possibility because I have definitely got enough of the fabric to do that. So that's it for my woven options. Moving on, I've got really just a couple of other jersey options to talk about. So I could obviously go back and make another Monroe or make another boat neck tee, but I quite like to do something different, I think. So the last one of the free patterns that I actually already own is an itch to stitch pattern called the Uvita top, and I'll put a picture up here. She's actually got 2 other free patterns as well, so when I put the link in, I'll put the link in to the kind of header page so you can see all 3 patterns at once. But she's got a skirt which is kind of like a tulip skirt, jersey skirt, and then she's got like a tank top, like a vest top, but the straps on it are quite wide. So I actually also own those, but I'm not particularly thinking of making these for this challenge, but I do actually own them. So the Uvita from Itch to Stitch then is a kind of relaxed fit drop shoulders top with a wide neck. So it's not unlike the Mandy Boat tee. And again, you can make 3/4 or full length sleeves. And this comes in sizes 00 to 20. So the 00 bust is 31 1/8 inch, 79 centimetres. Waist is 25 3/8 inches, 64.5 centimetres. And the hip is 33 1/8 inches and 84 centimetres. And it goes up to a size 20, which is bust 46 1/4 inches, 117.5 centimetres. Waist of 40.5 inches, 103 centimetres. And hip 48 and I think that's 1/4 inches and 122.5 centimetres. So not massively size inclusive, but I would say this is quite an old pattern by Itch to Stitch. And if you go onto her website and you look at her latest pattern, which is admittedly a paid pattern, it's much more size inclusive. So it goes right up to a 60-inch bust, 54 1/4 inch waist, and a 62-inch hip. So just to bear in mind, if you don't fall within the parameters of the Uvita, please don't be put off looking at the Itch to Stitch website, because it's obviously become much more size inclusive since the Uvita was drafted. And the other thing just to mention with the Uvita is that there is an add-on pack on the website, which I'll also link to, which gives you the opportunity to put a hood on it, and also I think to put on extensions with kind of thumb holes and pockets and things. So I'll link to that, but that's $5 US. So obviously you can't make a variation of that for Sew Frugal 22 because it wouldn't be free, but it's worth knowing about if you like the pattern and you want to make it again. So I've got the add-on, but obviously if I make the Uvita for the challenge, I won't be using the add-on. Okay, so fabric for this, you need fabric with a 2 or 4 way stretch of 25 to 50% stretch, and she recommends French terry, cotton jersey and double brush poly, and she suggests a size down if you're using rayon spandex. And if you're using 150 centimetre wide fabric, then you're going to need 1.5 meters to make the larger sizes, and if you're making 3/4 length sleeves, you only need 1.25 meters. So I thought I'd mention a few of the fabrics. This is probably where I pick things. I've got a big pile here, and if you hear a sort of muffled crash, it means they've all dropped off. So here's some of the fabrics that I might pick if I were to make the Uvita. So the first of these is a cotton jersey, and I can't actually remember where I've got it from, but I'll put it in the description. So this has got, I think it might have been Semi Sunshine, but I could be wrong. This has got little salt and pepper pots on, and what's really nice is, because it's got these little characters on, that it is actually a 2-way pattern, because no end of times you find when you've got novelty prints that they actually only go in one direction, and then that's really frustrating because you need more fabric. So I really like this one, and I really should get it sewn up. The only thing that is putting me off doing it is that I have actually also got some navy blue ribbing, which this pattern doesn't call for. So I might hang on and wait and use this to make something like maybe a billy top or something like that, so I can use the ribbing with it. Although I have got other navy jersey fabrics, so we'll see. So that's the first one, the salt and pepper pot. This is where I start throwing fabric all over the place. So the second of my fabrics that I could use for that is actually one quite like the stripy picture. So I hopefully will have put up 2 pictures of the Uvita, one in stripy fabric and one not. So this is another cotton jersey. It's got loads of stretch, it's quite thin. And this came from a company called Girl Charlie, who unfortunately aren't trading anymore in the UK. But it's really lovely, it's really good quality fabric. And in fact, I first saw it on the Stitch Sisters channel when Nikki and Rachel did a kind of battle of the t-shirts, and she made a Mandy boat tee in this fabric, and that's actually why I bought it, to make myself a Mandy boat tee. Then in the end I made it in this. But yes, I think it would work really well for the Uvita. I suppose the big question is, do I want to be sitting matching stripes? But yes, that's another alternative for the Uvita. So that's the second fabric. Now, with the next one, you might need to brace yourself. You may be realising that I have a bit of a taste for novelty prints. And so here's another cotton jersey. I told you it was bright. So this is another cotton jersey, and again this is from Girl Charlie, so who sadly closed down. And this, I don't know if you can see, is really quite a quirky fabric. So it's got these black old-fashioned telephones on, but then they've got cat faces on the telephones, so it's kind of a bit of both. And I think this might actually be quite fun. And this is one of those fabrics that's been sitting in my stash, and I've got quite a lot of it. And I keep thinking, it is a bit loud, and it is a bit over the top. So should it just be pyjamas? Should I make pyjamas out of it? Then nobody's going to really see it, but I'll see it and it's fun. And then I think, yeah, but it's such fun, so why not make it into a t-shirt? So let me know what you think. Should this be something that I make into PJs at a later date, or should I just go for it and make a Uvita? What do you think? I really like the colour. I really like its brightness. It's kind of quite a nice deep pink. It's not quite as shocking pink as it's coming up on the camera. So that's that one. And then the last one is a kind of, it's another cotton jersey, and would help if I showed you the right side, wouldn't it? It's this cherry blossom, which I actually got a remnant, but it's quite a big remnant, and this again came from Material Girl Laura before she closed down, so it's kind of pretty cherry blossom type fabric. And I'm not as sure. At some point I'm going to do a video about my stash and the Halesmore, the Sew Your Colours 22 challenge. I'm going to go through my stash and see how well it works with my colours. So I'll probably try and do that in the next few weeks. And I'm not entirely sure this is quite my colour. So I think if I do sew it up as opposed to destashing it, I will probably use it to try a pattern that I haven't tried before and I want to check the fit or something like that. So again, that's another possibility for the Uvita. So they're my 3 fabrics for that. So they're all patterns that I already own or can do from my body measurements. And then I was kind of thinking, that's it, that's all I'm gonna look at. And then I was scrolling through looking for free patterns, really partly for the scuba, the other night, and I found another one, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna, well, in fact I've downloaded another 2, one of which I can't make for the challenge, so I'll come on to that in a minute. but the other one I could, because I do have the fabric, I would just need to get the pattern printed. So let's talk about that one first. So that's the Jali Emily, and I'll put a picture of that up here. And it's not that dissimilar to the Monroe actually. It's a big kind of roll neck, fairly boxy, sloppy, drop shoulder sweater, which could actually be extended into a dress. And it's got a really, really wide range of sizes. So it actually really goes down into measurements for girls. So it starts at a bust 21, 53 centimetre waist, bust 21, 53 centimetres, waist of 20 inches, 51 centimetres, and a hip of 22 inches, 56 centimetres. And it goes up to, again, not actually massively inclusive on the top end, surprisingly. It's more that it goes into children's sizes on the bottom end. So the top size in the women's section is bust 51 inches, 130 centimetres, a waist of 44 inches, 112 centimetres, or a hip of 54 inches, 137 centimetres. So not as size inclusive at the top end, but if you wanted to make something for a child, you could do that. And this needs 4-way stretch fabric, so of 40%. So, but the main reason is because it's got this kind of fairly big neck, so obviously it needs to go over your head. And this was the January garment for a challenge run by Lindsay from Inside the Hem, which is called something like Sew Together. I'll put the details down there. So she recorded a video about it called something like All You Need to Know Before You Sew the Jali Emily, and that was really useful because she showed some useful fabrics for that. So I'll link her video below as well if you want to go and check that out. So for this, I've really got 3 possible fabrics. I've got this, which is a jersey. I can't remember what it's made of. I think it's cotton jersey, but I'll check and I'll put the details somewhere. And it's this purple fabric with really nice turquoise flowers on, and I really like this. The only thing with this is it was kind of earmarked to make a dress, one of the Prima patterns actually. So it's really going to be whether I want to use it, part of it, on a top. But we'll see. It is quite sheer, so I do kind of worry about jersey dresses and my lumps and bumps, so we'll see. But really like the fabric, clearly got loads of stretch going that way and a little bit that way, plenty to get it over my head. So that might be a really good option to make this top. And there's some really nice pictures on the website, the where you can download the pattern from, and people using really kind of bright, funky colours and prints. So I think this could look really pretty, really effective. So that's the first fabric. And then the second one is this kind of more of a, feels more a bit like a sweater knit. And this comes from Fabricland and was actually bought at the same time as I bought the fabric that the Monroe's in. So this is quite a long time ago. I think it was something like November 2019, something like that, because that's why I sewed that up for the Christmas that year. So you can see this is kind of multicoloured, so might be a bit of a pain cutting out and matching the stripes. But again, I think that might be quite fun for a roll neck and a top, just kind of slouchy top. Go nicely with, pick out nicely with jeans, I think. And I think, you know, not preempting my colours video, but I think actually that looks okay. I think the bright colours look okay. So that's the second option. And the last one, and the very final piece of fabric that I've got to show you, is this boucle that I got from Higgs and Higgs up in Gloucester when I did my road trip with my friend in August last year. And this has actually got more stretch than it looks to have. So that's the stretch between the selvages. So I think that's absolutely fine. Again, I do worry slightly that this isn't my colour. And I'm knitting something in this colour as well, so it's maybe not the best idea in the world. But I think if I made it with the roll neck and then I had a bright scarf or something, I think it would be absolutely fine. So so that's the final material that I could use to make the Emily. And I think this would be good to make it sort of, I did say in my sewing objectives for 2022 that I wanted to try and make some warmer tops. So actually that might not be a bad one. But I'm probably, if I do that one, I'm probably leaning towards using this, to be honest, because I think it's nice colour, and I think it's also a little bit more sweater-like than the purple jersey. But we'll see. So those are my thoughts and my suggestions for what I can actually make. The other one that I wanted to mention, simply because I think I mentioned earlier that Sam and Ruan did a live on Friday night, which I watched, actually on catch up, but I watched it. And they were talking about Mood Society, and there's lots and lots of free patterns on there to check out. And one of them was mentioned by Adam Sews, who actually is one of the vloggers, and I'll link his channel down below, but he's one of the people who's already done a video. And he mentioned their jumpsuit. So I, really liking jumpsuits, went on and looked at the pattern, and I found it, and it's the Forest jumpsuit, so I'll put a picture here. And I really like it, and I've downloaded it, and I think that might be the one if I use the So Fabricate Murfield, where Sam works, Frugalissima, is offering a 20% off printing at the moment because of the challenge. So I'll pop the details of that down below. But I think if I get something printed using that discount code, it would actually be the Forest jumpsuit. But I can't make it for the challenge because I don't have enough fabric to be able to make a jumpsuit, I don't think. The only possibility might be the bedding that I was talking about earlier, but I really think that would be too much. I think that would just be frightening, to be honest, so I'm not going to do that. So I need to wait until I can go and buy some fabric to make that. So sadly it wouldn't qualify for the challenge, but I just really liked it, so I have downloaded it. So that's it. So have you got plans for Sew Frugal 22? Do let me know down below. I'd love to hear your comments. And where I'm not sure what to do, I'd love to know what you think, or if you've got any suggestions for what to do with that piece of scuba. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really enjoying filming these vlogs, and I really hope you're enjoying watching them. So if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll be in touch soon, hopefully with another Friday Sews next week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.